Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Years ago, we had an invocation. Sometimes we still will for Pastor. In lieu of that, we'll just take a moment of silence. We want to make sure that we're here mentally, spiritually, to do the right thing for the city. So we'll just take a moment, please. Okay, seated. Thank you. All right. Julie, can you
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Gribble.
Here.
Mr. Richard.
Here.
Mr. Strickler.
Here.
Mr. Watkins.
Here.
Mr. Weber.
Here.
Mr. Woodmansey.
Here.
Elect officials.
Council, roll call completed. Could we have the elected officials?
Mayor Satterfield.
Here.
Auditor Wade.
Here.
Director of Law Bear.
Here.
Treasurer Pittman. Safety Service Director Ward.
And council president. Here.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Council President. I've just never done that, so I'll have to add that.
All right, before you have the agenda of this special meeting, if you had a chance to look it over and there are no changes, I'd like a motion to approve the agenda. Mr. Woodmansey makes the motion and
I'll second.
Mr. Weber seconds. Is that a roll call?
All in favor.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. The agenda is approved as written. Second item on the agenda is election of President Pro Tem. In the past, Mr. Richard has functioned in that role for a long time. But given the recent reposition of Mr. Weber being council president for a long time, don't know what kind of discussion would be in order. Or
Somebody needs, one
to.
of them would make a motion and somebody would second it and then we would then close nominate,
Make a
yes.
motion
Could make a motion to Mr. Weber.
Okay.
Mr. Woodmansey makes the motion for Mr. Weber.
Second.
Mr. Watkins seconds. Is that
Yeah.
all in favor?
Yeah, well, no, I have to roll call. Is there any other nominations? So, all right, if there's no other, okay. Mr. Woodmansey,
Yes.
Mr. Watkins,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
I'll say.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Gribble,
Yes.
Mr. Richard,
Yes.
Mr. Strickler.
Yes.
Motion carries, and Mr. Weber is elected to the President Pro Tem position. Item 3 on the agenda is election of the clerk, ordinance 2026-1.
Actually, they make the motion and before we do the ordinance, so.
Very good. Motion pass?
No, a motion no, a motion to, whoever you want to be clerk.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I guess I better make that, whoever you want
This
to.
is your
Julie Bell's
All right, thank you very much. I say,
Okay.
we have many seconds.
Okay.
Mr. Weber makes the motion.
I think-
Mr. Strickler seconds.
Okay, and then, Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Strickler,
Yes.
Mr. Watkins,
Yes.
Mr. Woodmansey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Gribble,
Yes.
Mr. Richard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Now we
Ms.
do
Bell,
the-
Thank you very much.
Now we do the ordinance,
Position.
so. All right.
Um,
Huh? Yep, I'm ready. Ordinance number 2026-1, entitled Ordinance Setting Duties and Compensation for the Position of Clerk of Council elected under Section 731.04 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency.
Any discussion? Just to review, declaring an emergency means that we will, well, first we're going to need a suspension of the rules. Suspension of the rules, traditionally there are 3 readings per ordinance. Suspending the rules will make this reading go directly to the final reading. And the emergency clause, just to clarify, means that it will take effect as soon as the vote is passed, not waiting 30 days.
And signed, yeah.
Signed by me.
Yeah,
And signed by,
Yeah,
yes.
and signed by the mayor, so.
So, first thing on the agenda is a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll make that.
Chair makes the rule, the motion to suspend the rules, seconded by Mr. Woodmansee.
Okay. Mr. Gribble,
Yes.
Mr. Woodmansee,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Richard,
Yes.
Mr. Strickler,
Yes.
Mr. Watkins,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
The motion to suspend the rules passes. And now I'd like a motion to put ordinance 2026-1 on the table.
To pass it.
If I may, Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
One of the things, I know some of you have been here before, middle of the year last year, we made a bit of a change. If you read the way the default language on our emergency clauses are written in section 6, I've drafted your default language for council such that to pass it as an emergency requires a higher threshold than a majority, at least 5. But the way we were wording it before, if a majority, 4 of you were to vote for it, if we didn't have the language the way we have it now, it would fail. It came up last year. So I have drafted the default of these that if you try to pass it as an emergency, but only 4 of you want it, the majority want it, it will pass. If you want to change it for something where it is either emergency or not, you can make a motion to amend. But I've come up with basically the solution of if a majority of you want it, they can wait the 30 days. I know this is not a controversial one, so it's an easier one to explain it. But that's sort of the default language I've chosen to have in the draft of these, just so council's aware. If it only turns out to 4, it still passes, just not as the emergency.
So I guess since we have a break for discussion.
I'm sorry?
Well, we have to have a motion to pass it first.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
just want to kind of make a note that her pay always aligns with the union contract for the regular employees.
For AFSCME, yeah.
And this is something we do every year, and I think it does need to be passed quickly so that she can get paid for,
So do I have a motion to pass ordinance 2026?
Make a
Mr. Brown?
motion to pass ordinance 2026-1.
And a second, Mr. Woodmansee?
No, any discussion, I guess.
That was discussion. Any other comments? All right, let's go to roll call.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Woodmansee,
Yes.
Mr. Gribble,
Yes.
Mr. Richard,
Yes.
Mr. Strickler,
Yes.
Mr. Watkins,
Yes.
Mr. Weber. Thank you.
Ordinance 2026-1 passes as an emergency. Next item on the agenda, election of clerk pro tem.
As long as his boss will let him.
If Matt wants to do that, that's fine. Just keeping continuity.
Sure, if I
That's
want
what
to.
I'm doing.
How long have you been,
Probably since Tasha left.
Yeah, since Tasha left, yeah.
2-3 years.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good. All right, may I have a nomination for clerk pro tem? Mr. Strickland.
Matt.
All right. What's his last name? Please, I'm sorry. I didn't
Barry.
Thank you. All right, seconded by Mr. Gribble. Roll call.
Mr. Strickler,
Yes.
Mr. Gribble,
Yes.
Mr. Richard,
Yes.
Mr. Watkins,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Woodmansee,
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
The
You're stuck.
selection of Matt Huckleberry as clerk pro temp passes. And I froze on last names too, so that's why I put you on the spot. So,
I appreciate that.
you raised your hand, so it's like nap class. Item 5 are committee appointments. I have maybe the only copy here. What do you think the best way to relay that information? And the committee chairs kind of have been selected, but I think the whole document
They don't
is
know any of the
fluid.
rest,
So,
yeah.
I mean, if you have a particular preference or
Yeah, I think two things. One is, and we've all had kind of discussion about that, but we're going to go about business a little bit differently this year. Instead of having 7 different nights for committee members or committee meetings, we're going to have 2. So we're going to have 4 committees on the first Tuesday, and we're going to have 3 committees on the third Wednesday, so that we're only have to meet 4 times a month. We'll have the regular council meeting. But I think that will keep things fluid, keep everybody energized. We can get a lot of business done on those nights and not take up everybody's time, including Julie's. I mean, she was here, and you think about it, it was 9 meetings a month
Yeah.
if every meeting went through. The second is I think the committee chairs, I think we're all in pretty good shape with that. Do you want me to read that, or?
yeah, you're on the.
So the first thing we'll do is, the committees will be as follows. On the first Tuesdays will be utility, chaired by Mike Richard. Streets, alleys, and trees, chaired by Josh Woodmansee. Parks and recreation, chaired by Heath Watkins. Laws and ordinances, chaired by Matt Strickler. The third Wednesday of the month will be Finance Committee, chaired by Eric Weber. Police, Fire, and Health, chaired by Terry Gribble. Economic Development, chaired by Todd Brown. Now this is where it gets a little bit, there's leniency or ability to move around if somebody really doesn't want to be on a committee, but this is how we kind of set it up. So the Utility Committee will be Mike as the chair, Matt Strickler, and Josh Woodmansee. Streets, Alleys, and Trees, Josh Woodmansee is the chair, Terry Gribble, and Heath Watkins. Parks and Recreation, Heath Watkins is the chair, Mike Richard, and Matt Strickler. Laws and Ordinances, Matt Strickler with Terry Gribble and Josh Woodmansee. Finance Committee, Eric Weber, this is the third Wednesday. Eric Weber with Todd Brown and Mike Richard. Police, Fire, and Health is Terry Gribble, Todd Brown, Eric Weber. Economic Development is Todd Brown, Chair, Heath Watkins, and Eric Weber. We can make copies of these so everybody sees that. Would have been nice if everybody could have been on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday because of the number of committees. Couldn't always make that work.
4 of them are.
4 of them are,
Yeah.
you're on,
Yeah.
you're only here on 3 nights instead of
Yeah.
4. Really tough one here, you're on the 4.
Yes.
But tried to, I mean, we've all had to talk informally about who wanted to do what, who had a passion to lead a certain committee. And I think we've hit that pretty good, keeping all the committees are important, but the stability of Mike being on the utility committee and Eric leading the finance committee as past members of council, to have that moving for this, at least for this year, makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
It's not that any of the other committees are less important. They're not. They're all as important. So if anyone has an issue with being on any of those committees, please let us know. I think we can probably make that change at some point in time. I can tell you there's already some stuff ready to go for finance and or utility. So we don't have legislation yet, but we certainly have some stuff that needs to be addressed early.
When do we want to do, because tonight would have been the committee.
Correct.
Yeah, so. When do,
Do you want to make it 2 Wednesdays in a row? Or
I don't really want to do 2 Wednesdays because that doesn't give us enough time to advertise for.
Yeah.
True.
What if we look at, because the information that's out, there's nothing pressing on the 13th in regards to legislation that needs to be passed.
No, just the one holdover.
Yeah, there's one holdover, there might be a couple other appointments that we have.
Yeah.
What if we looked at, for January, the third Wednesday, and the third Tuesday and the third Wednesday, so the week in between, we do Tuesday, Wednesday,
Okay.
and then we flip it to the other, does that work for everybody?
The third Tuesday would not work for me. If it's one of the committees for me,
Yeah.
that would not work for me.
Or we could do it on the Thursday, it's,
Yeah.
the only other option would try to be to put together a meeting before next Tuesday, and Wednesday, tomorrow night is definitely not
Yeah, I
available.
wouldn't have
We don't
enough.
have the 24-hour notice.
Right, yeah, I could do Thursday this week. But,
Utilities,
The 22nd.
Yeah, I'm okay.
yes,
Third Tuesday.
Sorry. So,
okay. And truthfully, there's, this early in the year, there's not a lot, I mean, yeah.
I know February we'll have to look at the PCA.
I mean, if Terry was absent,
So, somebody else could
that, I
run the meeting,
mean,
yeah.
you'd still have a majority of,
Yeah.
2 people there. So, I mean, if there's a slight conflict, it doesn't necessarily rule that out.
Yeah.
And I don't
Even if
anticipate,
you're chair of one of them, I mean, especially the first one, I think that's a
Well-
possibility.
What if we do them all on the same night?
we probably could get a,
For the first meeting, we could get away with that, and that way everybody would kind of hear what was going on, and,
I mean, if you're saying there's not a whole lot except for in like 2 of them, you said you have
Yeah.
a little bit.
yeah. Like utilities would be
Yeah.
a good one, and,
yeah.
I mean, just for that one, you could just do them all on the,
I'm not sure there's gonna be ordinances come out of it, it might more be discussion than it is ordinance.
right, that's what I figured, yeah, because I know for the first Tuesday of February, we'll have the PCA discussion, so it'd be nice to be able to have them meet
Make
before
sure
that's
we're
the
not gonna
first.
run into a sunshine law issue. So, I guess we wouldn't, because,
Yeah,
Open meeting,
huh?
open meeting.
it's an open
It's
meeting, but
it's an
they,
open meeting, just understand that when the other council members are here, and I think I'm gonna say this correctly, the 3 committee members are the only ones who can speak, so if you're a council member and you're not on the committee, you cannot address or speak in that, because now you are participation in that meeting, and that would violate the sunshine rule in regards to, it becomes now a full council meeting instead of a committee meeting.
right.
So we could do that, and then, so let's just say it's Todd, Mike, and Eric are in the committee, and the other 4 are waiting for their turn to be in the committee. You guys can't participate in the conversation. Is that correct? I think that's pretty accurate.
That's definitely the better way to go.
Yeah.
And I think there's a training on sunshine laws for those of you who aren't familiar with it. I think it's worth going through some of those details. This is one of those things where many of you come from the private sector. The truth is the public needs to know that what's being discussed is being done openly. Whereas at times, and I think with the committees in particular, if you have a problem with someone and disagree in your private business, you're adults, you're professionals, you go to them, you try to work it out person to person. The problem is, if you're on a 3-person committee and you have a disagreement, you go do that, have dinner or meet privately, suddenly a majority of that committee are now making a decision in secret, and it's an honest way you can violate it. I try to emphasize those things, because if I look at you guys and I have to tell you, don't steal public money, don't do all of this stuff, I'm not gonna fix bad character by telling you that. But things like open meetings, I think, are the kind of things that an honest person can violate without fully understanding the time. So I try to focus on those things as things. State does do some good sunshine laws training if you're not familiar with it.
And they'll go
Can
over
I
it at that time.
participate?
Yes,
My apologies.
yes.
Would I be allowed to participate in the committee discussion since I'm not a non-voting member, or is that?
Let me think about that, because technically, I know what you're saying. You're actually the tiebreaker vote if it's close.
Okay.
So
If there would be an abstention, you could vote to it.
So if you have an abstention or you only have 6 people and it's dead even.
So technically, I'm under that same umbrella.
Yes,
Okay.
you still have the potential where you could be voting.
Sure.
In fact, like I said, you could have the decisive vote on something that's close.
The best example I can give you is the last couple of years during, especially this last year, during the presentation of the budget to the finance committee, there were a couple other council members that came to hear the discussion to get an idea of what was being presented. And while they could sit in the audience and go through everything, they could not participate in that conversation. So.
And we made copies for them and everything, they had all this stuff, so I mean, I could still do copies so you could follow along, I can still do copies if we have major stuff, I can do copies for everybody that's
And
here.
I don't anticipate, we're not gonna set it up to where it's 6:37, 7:38.
No.
We're gonna go, the committee meetings are gonna start at 7 o'clock and it's gonna start in order. And if there's nothing on the agenda, then we're gonna move forward so that we're not gonna sit here and waste a half an hour each
No.
time. And I think the public that wants to participate, once they understand how this is playing out, while they may not want to speak to the utility committee, they want to speak to the streets or the parks, they'll understand that they need to be here right around 7 o'clock and then it's gonna flow smoothly and get to that point.
Right.
And I think that'll encourage more participation.
Yep.
It could,
If there's two, committee meetings per month, as opposed to figuring out,
Yep.
9, 7. So,
Yeah.
Real quick, are we still going to televise the committee meetings?
That's up to you guys, I mean,
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
We
so-
have in the past, the
I have been.
advantage is that anybody, including council members, has an opportunity to listen in to the dialogue that without actually being there. And so it kind of helps maybe, especially in the more bigger issues that may arise. It might be beneficial if we continue to do that. I thought I'd bring it up.
I have no problem doing it, I'm
I
hearing.
think that's an excellent idea. It involves the public,
Yeah.
another opportunity for them to be discussing. So Julie will email, so you'll have copies of committees. And if you do have, if you'd like to be on economic development, tell us early and I'm sure we can change things up.
Yeah.
But I think that's
Okay.
a big start.
We have to make a motion to approve the appointments and schedule it.
I think those are appointments made by the council president.
Yeah, I
You know, I read them.
don't think we have to,
Those are-
yeah, so, it's
I
his,
think
I
that-
thought those are just on the agenda.
yeah. I just put it on there, I don't think I had to approve them, did I? I just had.
Are we going to try to put these all on that Wednesday meeting then?
Yeah, let's tentatively shoot for the third Wednesday.
Yeah, for this month.
Yeah,
At 7 o'clock. We'll try to get that and we'll get in, I'll get you all and some kind of an agenda, or if anybody has anything, I don't necessarily accept it. If you guys have something you want to bring up, then bring it up. So that, I know there's a couple items for discussion, I'm not sure that we're ready to have ordinance form. And I don't want to,
I do have one, but
sorry?
I do have one for ordinance, well, the continuity of the next council. We have to set up a way to keep members and have continuity of flow of government, so we don't change the whole table at every election.
I think that's good for laws and ordinances and probably good for discussion and have an idea how we can write that in. Absolutely.
and that will require a vote, I mean, of the people.
It would not, yeah, it doesn't change the fact that we're all sitting here for 2 years.
No, I get it.
But yeah, the continuity of government moving forward. Look at that. Make sure that's researched right.
That will have to go to, yes,
Yeah.
but once it gets, doesn't that have to go to a vote by the citizens?
Yes.
It's that election.
Okay.
But I think it does, I think you should push it to that. So that you don't have everybody go.
Well, we can have it all except for Mike.
Well, Mike and Eric, and then just Eric just switch seats, but he's gonna vote, yeah.
Yeah, but Mike and I weren't here, then it would be.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's like all those meetings are going to be on the 21st? correct?
Yeah.
For this month.
For this month,
We'll do
yes.
it at 7 o'clock, and
Yeah,
again, it's not that we will cancel a meeting per se, because a lot of times, unless there's nothing for anything, then we will cancel all the meetings at once by Julie, but I think you know, the utility meeting comes to order, there's nothing on the agenda, or you come up and you say, you know, that way it's there and it's actually held. And then, you know, 3 to 5 minutes to play musical chairs and then call the next meeting to order.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
If we're on a committee and we want something to go on the agenda for the committee, do we just contact you, Julie, and just say,
Yeah,
Contact
yep,
Tom.
contact Tom?
yep, Tom, yeah, and, yeah, let me know too, yeah.
That's, kind of brings up a scenario that I thought of. Let's say one of the members, okay, well, you just answered it. Don't contact another council member, come through me, and I'll either bounce it off the mayor or Julie.
And what you'll see is
Get it to the-
what Julie has done in the past is when it comes time for committees, that she sends out an email to the committee chair and the other members of the committee. Do you have anything for the agenda? And she'll send it to the auditor's office, to the mayor's office. Because sometimes Roberta's office will have information or stuff that needs to go to the finance committee, or the mayor will have something that wants to be brought up.
And economic development or anything like that, yeah, so.
So if you have anything, shoot, and then we'll respond to that. Again, public record, it's out there, it's open discussion. If somebody wants to see what's being discussed, the emails are public record. But that's the easiest way to get stuff on the agenda. Likewise, if you have nothing, you know, you either don't respond or you respond back that you have nothing for the agenda.
Even if you're not on a particular committee and you want something for that committee, that's another avenue. Contact me. We can run it by the mayor or Julie and get that on, even though you might be a non-participant, that your subject is being raised in a public, you know, manner.
And if you have something that wants to be brought up and you're not sure which committee it goes to, again, that goes to Tom, and Tom will make the decision, the final decision on which committee. That's how you operated before. So if there's a subject that, you know, we want to plant a tree out front, where does that go? And then Tom will make that decision, and that's the direction where that issue would go to that committee for discussion.
So to get all of Dr. Fellner, we would just use your city email?
Yes.
Once we get it set up,
I'm
yeah.
going to set that up tonight.
All right.
If you have any
I would
questions.
suggest that whatever you send to Tom, always copy Julie, just so she's in the loop.
Yeah, so I know what, so I, yeah.
It was, for me, and you may, you know, you can do how you, but for me, it was much easier when we both knew everything, and Julie and I both knew everything at the same time.
Right.
Exactly.
If I had questions about it, I could call her, and then she's here in the office all the time, and she.
And then if it turns into a question
Right.
of knowledge, I mean, we've
Yeah.
got, you know, copies that it was made public.
And the way I do that, so say you give me something like today for the meeting on the 21st, I write it in my planner under that meeting, and then when I go out, okay, what, do you have anything? So far I have the following, and I'll list what I have so far. And then, so that way you don't have to tell me again, so if you're on that committee, and that's why I keep a running list of what goes on the committees.
So, I just, on that same vein, I've always made it a practice that any emails that I communicate with constituents or anybody that's council related, one, I only use my council emails. Okay, you don't use your private one. And the other thing is I always copy in council president and Julie. Couple of reasons. The main one is that, just like Doc said, it keeps everybody in the loop, so everybody knows what's going on. Because especially when you're conversing with constituents, things can happen. And so it's always good that everybody knows what's going on, at least at their level.
You guys also don't, and I know they're going to some more of the public record stuff, using your private emails for all the city stuff. You don't want me coming in saying, I now need to look through all of your emails to decide what's a public record and what isn't.
Right.
And you may have some other stuff you want to keep private, doesn't work, and eventually if it gets to be a problem where I have to look through it, it'll end up being me saying I have to look through a whole bunch of your private emails to figure out which ones are public and which aren't. It's just easier, just use the city one to avoid the question and the problem.
So if there isn't anything during a committee meeting that's specific to an agenda, so say for example, I'm heading economic development, can we use that as kind of a brainstorming session of how to
I
market?
think so, because I think it falls under other discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you could even give me that as an item. We're gonna have a brainstorm.
If you know that you want to bring up a specific issue, then you can put that under other discussion. But there's always room for other discussions
Oh, yeah.
in committees,
Okay.
similar to what there is at the end of council meetings, so.
Yeah, all the items on the agenda don't have to be voted items. They can just be discussion.
Yeah, they don't have to have a legislation,
But
yeah.
splash park discussion, you know, it's just, we're gonna talk about the splash park.
Does that, in that vein, does that exempt participation? That open discussion, does that allow, or is it still just the committee members?
It's just the committee
Just to be
members and the
safe.
general public. It would still preclude the other council members from having a discussion, because then again, what's the difference then between a committee meeting and a meeting of the whole?
Yeah,
If you have 3 or 4 other committees, you know, you might be back there taking notes, say, hey, we need to talk about this. Or you might want to bring it up, you know, further discussion during council to have that discussion, do we want to move forward? Just, yeah, it's, the first meeting, and once we get this figured out, it'll be, you know, touch and go and making sure that we're wading in small waters to make sure we don't cross the line.
Sure.
And you know, we're all gonna learn this, heck, I'm still learning this stuff too, so.
Mr. President, I'll also say that just for, you know, for help for everyone, that when it's better to have, if there is something that you want to talk about during a committee or whatever, it's better to have that as a listed item on the agenda than just popping the question during other business, because if Mr. Fellner, if Ms. Bell know about it, they can have conversations with the right people so that you can, it's not a discussion that's like empty, that nobody has answers to because nobody had time to prepare to give you what it is that you wanted, or maybe there's backstory and they would have had stuff on file somewhere that they could have. So it's better for them to know about it in advance to make the conversations more fruitful.
or it's something like Nikki has a lot of information on, then she can either get that to,
She knows
like,
right.
yeah. She can be prepared, so.
Yeah. Good.
All right. Item 6, council orientation, informational session. What do we got?
Yeah, would you want to go over the budget first?
Yeah, let me take the lead on this in the beginning. I handed you out a couple different documents. I'm gonna start with the easy one first, and that's the debt. And I apologize for already making that, so I've made a copy of this. This was from, I wanted you to be aware of the debt that the city currently has. This is the debt at the end of 2025. It's all being repaid through the budget process, but I think it's important that you know where we sit in total debt. OPWC is Ohio Public Works. OWDA is Ohio Water Development. OP&F, those are two, the OP&F is Police and Fire Pension Liability. That has been going on since 2018, and it's an effort for each city is making up a shortfall with the police and fire pensions. And then the bottom of the bands are our notes that we do annually. And you can see that last year we borrowed $1.16 million. The screw pump and the lift station are both been out there long enough that we are paying down on that annually. We don't have to pay back anything on the water treatment plant improvements or Powers Reservoir yet. I think it goes 5 years and you have to start paying down on those things. So, but the interesting thing that I showed you is the balance on those debts. On the top, you see the balance on them. The annual payments include interest. OPWC does not have interest payments. OWDA and the bands and the police and fire pension all do have interest payments. But the annual payments are the same every year. It's a matter of the principal and interest fluctuating. So as we're paying them down, the principal's going up and the interest level is going down on those. If you want to know the actual interest rates of those, I'm sure that Roberta and I can put together a list of what the OWDA interest rates are and stuff like that. The other interest, so it tells you what fund that those are coming out of. Again, fund numbers right now are Greek language to you, to most of you, but you will get that. But it tells you what fund is paying the loans back, when the loan was initiated, and when it's due to be paid off. That's the scary number.
Yeah.
Okay? And I don't say that lightheartedly. You can see that a lot of our debt goes into the 2030s and into the 2040s. Okay. And for the general public that's watching, we're sitting on $8 million in debt right now.
Cheshire was just paid off, right?
Cheshire was just paid off. Cheshire was paid off. The next one that's due to be paid off is
2029?
2029, the water tank rehabilitation that we took the loan out in 2009 and we still have, that will be paid off before my term is up. But there's some scary numbers out there. And when you look at the budget and the debt payments and the principal and interest on those that are part of the budget, you realize how it's difficult sometimes to put together a budget that knowing that these numbers are out there. So, and I think it's also good for consideration of when we start having discussion of do we want to borrow more money and where do we want to borrow it from? Because at some point in time we hit that limit where we can't repay the debt. It's not that we can't repay it, but when do we borrow ourselves in a position that we can't operate?
Yeah.
Are we on the annual payment line there? Is that something, like some of them seem to be pretty low on the annual payment. Are you able to?
We could pay off the OPWC.
Okay, because of the.
We are not allowed to repay or to pay off the OWDA early.
Okay.
So we can pay off the ones that are non-interest?
The non-interest ones we can pay off early.
Yeah.
The ones that interest, Ohio Water Development wants their money. They want their money.
Of course it.
Yeah, and that's set up in the loan document, so it is. The bands we can pay off whenever we want. I mean, when I took over the auditor's office 4 years ago, we were at almost $4 million in band notes, and we paid that down to the 1.1. So, but it's getting more difficult to do some of that stuff. Anyway, more informational purpose than anything else, but I think it was imperative that you guys knew coming right off the bat where we sat on the debt. So when you get into the budget, you start looking at debt repayment and stuff. And again, Roberta's got access to this stuff, and I spent a lot of time in the auditor's office putting together our debt numbers and looking at this stuff so that I had a good grasp on it from that perspective and knowing what we owed, where we owed it, and how long it was going to take us to pay it back. The sad part is, but it's the truth, we are borrowing money to fix things that we're still paying on. You look at water treatment improvements. The one debt was taken out in 2003 shortly, right, fiscal emergency, beginning of the end of fiscal emergency. We're paying on that till 2035. We're still making water treatment plant improvements. And we're borrowing for that. All right, now the fun stuff. Budget. Sure. It is what it is. That's right. It is what it is. This is the budget that was passed by council at the end of the year. I wanted you, number one, to have the budget. Number two, know that when you get the expense reports after January, when the auditor's office, when Ms. Wade puts those out to you guys, the line that says initial on the expense report is going to say budget report, and that line is going to include encumbrances from the previous year. So these numbers will change. This is what was budgeted for this year, not including encumbrances that were in 2025. Okay? Council's authority is by category. So when you hear us talk about 100s, that's salaries and wages. When you talk about 200s, that's benefits. 300s are contractual services. 400s are materials and supplies. 500s are capital. Council passes, if you look on page 1, when council passed the budget, 101-1010, which is 101 is general fund, 1010 is police department, and then the 100s. The budget that was passed was for $172,029.68. You gave a category budget of that amount of money. The auditor's office then works with the department heads and splits that out amongst the different lines within that fund, that category. So your budgetary authority is by category. The department heads, the auditor's office, the administration has the ability to transfer money within the category without council authority, approval, which means we can move money from 101 to 105, 112 to 108. If you go back down into some of the 300s from 338 maintenance and repair to postal services 320. You can make those moves without council authority as long as we don't supersede the amount that was budgeted in that category. We don't exceed that.
There was an expanded version of the budget that was prepared for council to review, and then it was condensed down to summary for
Yes.
passage. So when it was passed, it was reviewed by council in the expanded view, and then it was collapsed so that they could do what you were saying.
There was our office made a mistake in 2024, and we passed this version of the budget. When this version of the budget, if we were to pass this version of the budget, council has line by line authority. Which means if anybody wants to move money from 101 to 102, you need to approve. And we did that, and we ended up with over 100 ordinances that year. It was every week, every council meeting, we were doing ordinances to move that. And it's because our office made that issue, we didn't shrink it down. There's one more level that we could go to. There might be a discussion later on this year that you can combine salaries and benefits, so the 100s and 200s, and they can do all others. That's even less authority by council. This is the version that you have, and the authority that you have is what got us out of fiscal emergency. And that's been kind of the trademark of the where we wanted to stay for the short term. It just works. And there's not that many times. You don't have a lot of movement until you get to the second, the last third of the year, last couple months of the year, where a department may have spent all of their contractual services money, but they still have some capital money that they're not going to use, and they want to move that up to maintenance and repair or something like that. So they make those moves.
So in short, this is the budget you passed, read it over, but we're not making any changes unless you.
No, I can assure you that there's already.
There'll be changes.
Yeah.
All year there'll be.
I understand but right now it's in place.
Oh, yes.
This is the budget that we have, that this council has to work with
Yep.
currently.
Perfect.
Yes. And if, you'll start hearing, again, and this, if you look at it, the bold letters, 101 says general fund, and then it gets into police and fire, so you'll start seeing what 601 is water, 603 is sewer, 608 is storm water, 605 electric. It will become a lot more second nature to you than it does right now, but it gives you that idea. And again, there are changes that have to be made in this budget. The very first thing I can tell you is the budget was passed with a 3% wage increase last year, and the employees got 4%. So there's not enough money in any of the wage lines to pay the employees at the end of the year. That will need to be adjusted. There's also been some insurance changes that were made when we did the budget, and then we got the insurance forms from the employees. Some chose different options, so there'll be some insurance numbers that'll have to be changed as well. This budget right now, there's no urgency on that. This will get us through half the year easily, without making big changes. So,
and the numbers are mind-numbing, you know, even with experience, it's still, so don't feel like you're behind the curve, ask questions, you know, because you can't possibly, it's still very eye-opening even after all this time.
If you have questions, it does, contact Roberta in Roberta's office, and she will walk you through the stuff. It's all public record, and I am quite certain that she is very capable of explaining to you what's going on, and if you have questions on why certain things were done. Do you have the ability to look at an invoice? Sure, it's a public record. Do you have the ability to say what the police chief can buy? No, unless it's over a certain threshold of money. But remember, you're entrusting the department heads and the administration to spend the money wisely within the budget that's been presented to them. Anything?
Yeah, I just want to say, you're getting a lot thrown at you for, the first meeting. It was fund accounting, and that's a whole different concept. And then, we have our budget, and then we turn that into appropriations. And that's the authority to spend. So you come in here, and all that has been decided already. The budget's been done, the appropriations have been approved, and we're working within that framework. But all year long, there's adjustments, and so you'll be seeing, it's a fluid process. It's just our best guess at the beginning of the year, and all year long, there'll be changes presented. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there are some, I shouldn't say that you can never say no to something. If there's a big purchase, it has to come to council. As the earliest example I can tell you is the police chief is looking to do his lease program for his police cruisers. That will be over the threshold of the 75,000.
79,568, that's on their paper.
So that would have to be approved
It goes up by
council.
3% every year.
Okay, so that will be brought to you, authorizing him, or the service station director, to go enter into this lease agreement. And that's when you have the ability to go, no, I don't think you should have 3 cruisers, you should only have 1. And I'm not suggesting that, I'm just saying that that's where the discussion becomes, are we going to enter into the agreement to purchase the dump trucks or the street sweeper or if the fire department needed a fire engine? It might be in the budget, but you still have to authorize the purchase because it's over the threshold.
And what is that threshold?
80,000.
80,000.
Yeah. Roughly. It's just shy of it.
79, it's on your paper, 79,568 for 2026, and it'll go up by 3%.
These are inflation adjusted numbers,
Yeah.
why they round out to odd numbers.
Yeah, that's why it's weird, yeah. They'll go up by 3% again for 2027.
Yeah. And before I turn it over to Julie, please, I planned on having it for you today, and I forgot. You need to see Julie or Nikki, potentially even Olivia, to get your paperwork filled out so that you can get paid, and that we can get the information to you, to the pension board. If you have participated in PERS in the past, you do not have the option not to. If you have not participated in PERS in the past, you have the option to take Social Security or FICA taxes out instead. But if you have been, as Tom's been on council before and he participated in, he doesn't have the option just to take Social Security. He's got to jump back into the pension. The pension is, and we have paperwork down there, but PERS, you would be part of PERS. It's 10% goes to PERS. When you are finished with council, you get that money back. It rolls over into, you can hold on to a pension. I'm not going to dive too deep into that. We need to get that done. Your pay is determined by when the pay period ends in the first of the month. So if the first pay period that ends in January, which the last pay period ended on December 27th, so the next pay period that ends is this coming Saturday. That's the first Saturday, or that's the first time that the pay period ends, and council members are paid off of that payroll, paid once a month. So if the pay period ends on February 1st, you will get paid that next Wednesday. If the pay period doesn't end until February 8th, then you won't get paid until like the 13th. So most of the time, it's gonna be the first Tuesday or first Wednesday of the month, but sometimes it's the third,
Yeah.
depending upon how it plays out.
Yeah,
And
if we get paid,
everything
if we
is
have 3
direct
pays.
deposit.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is direct deposit, so if you don't have direct, we'll need to get that stuff.
Right, you'll need that when you fill out your paperwork.
Yeah.
Mike and I need to.
You guys don't, I don't think, no,
Anything, right?
you guys don't need to do anything because all things being changed in the system and nothing's being changed in Mike's, but you're just going from council president to second ward. So that your title's being changed. Okay. And again, whether it's Julie or Nikki or Olivia Roston is a whiz with this stuff and she knows her stuff. and
She's got a
she'll-
spreadsheet for everything.
Yeah. So, great. Thanks, Julie.
All right, now what I gave you like an orientation sheet, and you guys have already talked about a lot of this. If you can't attend a meeting, send a note to the president of council, Dr. Fellner, and I, so that way we both know what's going on. So in case he doesn't get it, or in case I doesn't get it, so I can tell him when he gets here that, hey, so-and-so's not gonna be here. They went over the readings. The mayor could veto any of our measures. And then we can go over that, we'll go over that if that time comes, if we have to override a veto or whatever, or he can choose not to sign it, that's what we had before, and then we have to wait 10 days to make sure he's not going to, veto it, and then it'll just go into effect when it regularly would have anyway. Director of Law, if you want him at any of your committee meetings, please let him know if he will be needed there. That way he's got a young family, so that way he can schedule and doesn't get in trouble with his wife. Council rules, I gave you all a copy of the council rules. If it's not the council rules, we default to Robert's Rules of Order and you can change, these can be changed, so you guys can look at them in laws and ordinance or whatever committee you guys want to put that in and change them. Executive sessions, this is a biggie that I gave you all the reasons on the back of the council orientation for all the reasons you can go into executive session, and you basically have to make the motion and basically say why. But sharing information out of an executive session, I will not be in there, so I don't know, so you can't tell me either. But sharing the information out of executive violates the privilege, and then everything, if you just shared it, then it becomes public, and we have to give it for public records request. So do not share information out of executive sessions. I mean, especially unless it comes down to the time where it's over and now we've passed the ordinance and stuff, then it's totally different. But Sunshine Law, we went over that with the majority of members when they're together. Public Records Law, all your records, if you're texting each other and stuff, unless it's like for lunch or something, those can be public records. And all of you are required to take the state auditor's 3-hour training or Ohio Attorney General, both of them give it, for elected officials for Sunshine Law training.
Once per term, right?
Once per term, yes, not once per
Let me
year.
interject real quick. There's also a fraud seminar that you are required to take within 30 days of taking your position. I will get that information to you. The auditor, when we get the certificate, we'll get it and give it to the auditor's office because the last audit they asked for the certificates. And then once you do it, it's every 4 years. So Mike and Eric are good. The rest of you will have to take it. It's about 20 minutes max.
Yeah.
It talks about the what to look for in abuse and fraud.
It's actually only about 10 minutes. I just redid it yesterday.
It's not horrible, but it's mandated by the state, and the state auditor, again, I can show you, there's a folder that's, I think, with every single employee downstairs that has taken it, and they will ask for it. So
That's with the Attorney General.
yeah, I'll get you the website. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a website. You sign up for it. Once you're done, it'll spit you an email for a certificate. We'll get that printed out, and we'll get it to Ms. Wade's office so that she can have that for the auditors.
The Sunshine Law training is, you can do a segment come back to it the next day. I mean, it's
Right,
not,
yeah.
you know, you don't have to.
It's like 5 segments now.
It's split, the Attorney General's one split into 5. I did 2 of the 5 yesterday.
Yeah, so it's not, you don't have to dedicate, you know, a block of time. If you've got time to do a module, then you can save it and come back to it.
And
So-
when you do that, you do have an option to print a certificate. They went away from that for a little while. But if you don't, if you print just get it to me, and then I have a file that when the auditor's office asks for it, that I give them all of your certificates. Or if you don't get the certificates, they have a list. Just tell me like the month you took it or like the week you took it, and say, hey, I took it, and then I can go look for it and print out the list on their site. It's real easy to do that. So,
And
and
I do
then,
update those trainings, there is new stuff coming out. There's a big guide called the Yellow Book that when I get requests, and they're not just off the top of my head, I look at that book most of the time when I hear new requests come in.
it is online. You
It
can
is
searchable,
online.
yeah.
Like I said, I was impressed, the video I've already started watching for this term has some updates from the legislature from last year already integrated into the video, so they are keeping up on this, trying to keep you current.
Okay. All right, we already went over your role. You guys legislate and they administer what you guys legislate, the mayor and the auditor and director of law. If you need advice on legal matters with the city, you go to Mr. Bear. And we already talked about our expenditure, $79,568. And then you guys will have to file the Ohio Ethics Commission Financial Disclosure Form, which is normally about mid-May.
They're available,
Yeah.
they're available now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll send you guys, I send the links out, I get reminders and so,
It's another one we got.
yeah. So that's a $35 filing fee for that, so. I don't think I'll have to help. Some of the other ones last year, I had to help them because they couldn't do it, but if you're on last year, if you're listening, you'll have to do it again this year, even if you're not on, so that'll be your last one, so.
Once you do it once too, it kind of saves the past, and you can just say, same as last year.
Yeah, especially if you remember your password, you gotta remember your password so you can get back in, so. But that's all. If you have any questions over what I passed out, I wasn't gonna go over it, but yeah, all the reasons are there for going into executive session, so that's a handy document, and then go over your, council rules, that's a much bigger document. And then let me know when you want to go to that training, or you wanna go to the newly elected council trainings that are on February 7th, the 21st, or March 7th, so, and I'll get you all registered at once, so.
Devices.
Oh, yeah, devices. What do you guys want? I know I did put some money into the budget. I don't know, I don't have enough for like big, real elaborate laptops, but we could either do some kind of a small type laptop or get iPads. I know the ones we had before, you can't even update them anymore. They're from 2013, so they're.
About the laptops as well?
The laptops cannot update anymore either.
Really?
Yeah,
That wasn't that long.
I know, that was during COVID, that was 2025.
Okay. Well,
Or 2020, I mean, it's 2025, sorry, it was 2020,
So
so.
Julie, with that, my question would be, do we have to have a device?
You do not, if you don't want, you
If
just,
we're using company or the city's email on our personal device, the email is the only thing it is for public record, correct? So,
yeah, and it'll,
not that it matters, but I'm saying why spend the money if we don't have to on a
Yeah.
device that I'm pretty confident saying everybody in here, we're probably not gonna use it.
yeah, some of
Maybe
people,
these guys are, I don't know, I'm
Yeah.
not using it.
yeah, that's why I say, if you don't want one, that's fine, but some people like, Mike has religiously been the only one that has used his iPad. He has used, you don't have it because it doesn't update anymore. It's like, I mean, it's.
Well, you're gonna be in the same boat, you're gonna purchase something.
Right.
And here in a few
I
years,
did
maybe
check.
you'll go again.
They did add more years to Apple products now, so it's about 7 years you can get out of them now on updates. But, so,
The biggest thought process is that you have a device that there are times, especially like the budget, when we pass out the budget, and you do it, if you don't do it back and forth pages, it's 80 pages long.
yeah,
So we're not printing out 80 pages times 7, 10,
it
you know.
does
You're not
Save
using all that
paper.
paper, and it's less cumbersome. You can have it, just scroll through your budget.
Right.
On your iPad or the email, the emails again, where do you get your city emails? They're on my iPad. Here, Mr. Barry, here's my, somebody has a public
Yeah.
record, here you go.
Yeah, so.
So,
You're not turning over your cell phone.
Yeah, yeah, and hopefully, I mean, if you're using the city email, it should save, I mean, technically it should be on our server, so,
and Josh's point, if you've got your own laptop that you're gonna dedicate just for that, that's perfect.
That's fine, too.
Just-
I know the
if we can
doc
go
had used-
Electronic documents more than we can.
you had used,
Paper documents, that's,
My laptop.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would be fine if you're gonna do one or the other, but if we're gonna keep spitting this stuff out every week or every month, then
yeah,
are we really gonna use, maybe some guys are, I don't know.
yeah, I
I
wouldn't
guess
have
I'm
to,
speaking for myself there on
Yeah.
that one.
It's personal choice, you don't have to. It's-
yeah. Because I could still, like, there's some people that still wanted me to print the council packets, and some people wanted them on the iPad. So there for a while, I didn't print any. Now I'm back to printing them for everybody. You know, it's just, I'm just thankful I don't have to deliver them like I did when I first started. I had to deliver them to everybody's house.
So it really doesn't matter, is one or the other better if half of us are getting paper and half of us are getting on an iPad, or
It-
we
it
have
doesn't-
all
it do-
uniform?
It doesn't matter. I mean, it just would if I take it off some, you know, if I'm only making 4 instead of 8, that's fine.
One
So
of the reasons why before we didn't have, when I first came to council, we didn't have, it was paper. Okay, the reason why we considered and got iPads was to save on some of this. Now, some people, like you were saying,
prefer the paper.
would prefer to have the paper, which is fine, but you think about it is if, say, 3 of us all would decide to keep paper, but everybody else maybe would like the iPad. My personal preference is the iPad. I didn't like the laptop. We're still saving a little some money.
yeah,
Can we all come to an agreement though, to do
Sure,
one thing
I'm
and
just
then,
throwing it
Yeah.
out there.
and then, so she only has to do one thing?
yeah,
That's why,
That's kind of where I was.
let's just keep it simple, I mean, we're
Yeah.
gonna, she's got enough
Oh, I
stuff
know,
to
I know,
do.
I know.
If we could all come to an agreement today and say, hey, we're either gonna go electronic, or we're gonna go paper, and be done with
What's
it.
an iPad cost? I don't know.
I was looking them up, and for what you guys need, I can probably get a decent one. Even maybe if you guys wanted a keyboard for like $400. Yeah,
I don't know what.
I don't need the iPad Airs, but
Well, case of paper is what, $40?
yeah,
Well, and I'm sure that you're billed by every copy that you print, right?
yeah. I
You
think
probably
that's
pay
how
more
the
for a
copy
color
machine
copy.
works.
So
Yeah,
that logo on OML
yeah,
is costing you more than a black and white.
yeah.
So
So
I would think
yeah,
it would be better to go non-paper. I'm a paper guy, but
yeah.
Go electronic and be done with it, then, it sounds, how did that work out? When you're up there, how were you?
I had a laptop and I used the laptop. I
I mean,
also had
you're-
paper copies.
Yeah,
You're the older generation, and
Yeah.
you're saying you have no problems with it, so.
yeah.
I mean, well, hey, that's one thing from on camera, I was being nice
Yeah.
about it, but,
I will say, as council president, I did like having, because I was checking things off. as I was
Yeah.
going.
I
Yeah.
get that,
So-
but it's,
Yeah.
we gotta simplify things.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
I
you
know
had
this
a-
is little
But
fun.
just-
What about
Pencil.
what
I have a
about
pencil
the
here.
agenda on paper and everything else on a laptop?
Well, sometimes the agenda can be multiple
Yeah.
pages because all the ordinances and resolutions are all.
Yeah, it's all in there.
Essentially, just agenda. That's all I have to do our job once.
So,
So I just want to make
Mr.
a comment. If
Yeah.
you come to me about finances and I'm presenting some paperwork to you, I mean, it's going to be paper, and it's probably going to be highlighted and underlined and things like that, so that when we go through it, you know, you're going to be able to digest it a little better than just, you know, columns and columns of numbers.
Right.
So I think, at least from my perspective, that having the paper and being able to circle numbers that are being talked about or check mark things, it kind of helps you get your bearings and helps you learn a little bit more about the documents. You know, what you decide to do here is obviously council's decision, but you'll be seeing me over here with the council packet, and I'll be going through and I'll be underlining things that might need to be discussed or highlighting or circling numbers and things like that, because that's how I learn and retain that information. And so, you know, whatever you decide to do is fine, but when you come to me about numbers and things. You're probably gonna get paper, and you're gonna get highlighted things, and we're gonna talk about it, and hopefully, bring up your level of knowledge about how you put it together.
I agree, that's a good point. 90% of the paper we have here right now is coming from our office. So you're not gonna be paperless if you go.
No, you won't be.
Just to be clear, we're not gonna be.
No.
No, you're never gonna be paperless, it's not
No.
possible, but
No.
I'm not.
To be fair, for the last, since I've been here, we've done both. We supply the laptops or tablets or whatever it is that you want. I think a tablet, or a iPad is probably better than a laptop. I've had both. And I like having the iPad better. Because the way we use it, it's quicker, it's easy, hit the button and then you can scroll through your things and read them, but,
Yeah.
we always had them printed and we had the iPad. I think both of them are handy, so. Like, you could do condensed versions, they'll just print the agenda and not have to have all the pages printed. Sometimes we get council packets that are as thick as the budget.
Oh, yeah, when I have a lot of ordinances and a lot of attachments to the,
If you wanted them to be or whatever.
when I have a lot of attachments, like, for grants and stuff, sometimes I'll have quite a few attachments that I send with it, because I think you guys should have that, instead of just, here's the ordinance and you guys don't have to worry about what's attached. I think that's wrong, so that's why I always make sure you guys have, like, all the attachments that are how the ordinance came about, so.
So I think what I'm hearing is iPads are the preferable electronic device. And if you want one, see Julie.
Yep, and I'll work on getting them. I know I saw them on Amazon for like $2.99, so I know I have an account, and it seemed like it was cheaper than it was at even Apple with government, so.
What else you got, Jules?
I think that was all from, emails, I already passed out your email papers. If you have any trouble, get a hold of our new, because like I said, I am Mrs. Magoo when it comes to a lot of that stuff. I can kind of get my way through it, but sometimes I don't know how I got there. So, get with Dan Cannon with Sites, and he'll make sure you guys can get your email onto your devices that you want it on for now, and then we'll work on getting it onto iPads when we get those, so.
That course that is offered is not mandatory.
No, it is not mandatory.
I'll tell you, I've gone through it twice. It's the second time that I learned most of it, because the first time is, again, kind of mind-numbing, but it's very valuable, and lunch is provided. Because it's all day long.
Yeah, all day long, yeah. And I've even went to them, and I've gotten a lot of information out of them,
Yes.
so.
I think I need a motion for adjournment.
And we do have a picture before everybody runs out of here, so.
I need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Mr. Woodmansey seconds. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
8:08.
Adjourned.